Why, hello there, folks. Welcome to a video with yours truly, Lepharia. Today, I want to be talking about the new Magic 2015 core set, which will have its pre-release this weekend. And all the spoilers are now released, and as is tradition, as I did with the last expansion that came out, which was Journey into Nyx, I will go over the spoilers and give you my impression and maybe a first analysis of the cards that will be coming with the new core set. So, without further ado, let's start with the white cards. This is the card image gallery of Wizards of the Coast. I will put the link in the description below if you want to check that out for yourself. So, here we go. First of all, Ajani Steadfast, another fucking Ajani Planeswalker. How exciting. Well, let's see what he does. 4 mana, 4 starting loyalty. Until end of turn, up to 1 target creature gets +1/+1 and gains first strike, vigilance, and lifelink. So that's pretty good, I guess. Put a -1/-1 counter. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and a loyalty counter on each other planeswalker you control. Well, isn't that something? And you get an emblem with, if a source would deal damage to you or a planeswalker you control, prevent all but one of that damage. So yeah, he seems to be quite the powerhouse, doesn't he? All of the abilities are extremely relevant and are very, very powerful, as it seems. So he's probably the best of the Ajani Planeswalkers, if I'm not mistaken. There was one in Journey into Nyx, Ajani Mentor of Heroes, which is okay-ish, and Ajani Vengeance is of course very good. Maybe Ajani Vengeance is better, but he seems to be better than the average Ajani Planeswalker, so I'm happy about that. Next up, Ajani's Pridemate. Yeah, that makes a return. 2 mana, 2/2. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Ajani's Pridemate. Could enable life gain decks. That is one of the cards that makes it viable. The other is Serra Ascendant, as you might know from decks like Soul Sisters or stuff like that. Yeah, but I like this card very much. I like it making a return. So yeah, that's cool. Next up, Avacyn, Guardian Angel. Not a reprint, but I like seeing creatures from Innistrad block again. And Avacyn is clearly one of my favorite creatures from that block. What do we have? 5 mana, 3 white, 5/4 flying, vigilance. For 2 mana, prevent all damage that would be dealt to another target creature this turn by sources of the color of your choice. And for 7 mana, prevent all damage that would be dealt to target player this turn by sources of the color of your choice. That is pretty nice, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. And it does what it says on the tin. It's a Guardian Angel that protects you. And it's also a giant flyer. So yeah, I can see that being quite the bomb. Maybe not so much in Construct, but in Limited. Definitely, of course. So, Battle Mastery. That's an aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has double strike. Cool. Nothing exciting about that, really. Boonweaver Giant for 7 mana, 4/4. When Boonweaver Giant enters the battlefield, you may search your graveyard, hand, and/or library for an aura card and put it onto the battlefield attached to Boonweaver Giant. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. Well, that's great, isn't it? That's like, yeah, you can like get an aura back from your graveyard, or put one from your hand onto the battlefield, or from your or to your library, so that's very powerful. 7 mana is something that's not to be neglected, but yeah, I can see that guy being powerful. Next up we have Congregate for 4 mana. Target player gains 2 life for each creature on the battlefield. Crap. But maybe it looks like White Weenie might be a theme here. So, well, if you have a Ajani's Pridemate out, that card could do you some good, but I wouldn't recommend that in a constructed deck, at least. Next up, Constricting Sliver. New Sliver. Sliver creatures you control have, when this creature enters the battlefield, you may exile target creature an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. So that's great. So every every sliver you own becomes an Oblivion Ring of some sort, or what's the other card that does that? Oblivion Ring exiles permanents, right? How's that card called? That exiles a creature. I can't remember now. Dauntless River Marshal, 2 mana, 2/1. Dauntless River Marshal gets +1/+1 as long as you control an island, and for 4 mana involving a blue, tap target creature. Yeah, not too excited about that. You don't want to grow creatures with islands, do you? Blue is not the color that should be doing that. But, oh, we'll see. Devouring Light, 3 mana, an instant with Convoke. I like seeing Convoke make a return. Convoke, you may know, is a Ravnica block mechanic. Means your creatures can help cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting this spell pays for 1 colorless or 1 mana of that creature's color. So basically you can use your creatures as lands for that spell. Exile target attacking and or target attacking or blocking creature instant spell. Yeah, that looks nice. If you have 3 creatures out, you can like cast it for free on your opponent's attack step. That's kind of nice. So you can like block with 3 creatures and then tap them for mana. Not for mana, but to cast this spell. Next up, Divine Favor, another well-known card. Enchant creature, gain 3 life. Enchanted creature gets +1/+3. Yeah, nothing too exciting about that. Ephemeral Shields, 2 mana, instant, Convoke. Target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Can see that being nice. Combat trick limited. First response, 4 mana enchantment at the beginning of each upkeep. If you lost life last turn, put a 1/1 white soldier creature token onto the battlefield. So White Weenie seems to be the thing that we're going for here. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of White Weenie, but it is often a powerful strategy. So I like seeing it in here. And you need powerful aggro strategies in a format. So, Geist of the Moors, 3 mana, 3/1 flying. Don't really like that. I don't like creatures with 1 toughness in general, because they just die way too quickly. Okay, Heliod's Pilgrim, 3 mana, 1/2. When Heliod's Pilgrim enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an aura card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So, there's another card that does that, and the name escapes me again. But yeah, auras and life gain seem to be another theme here for White. But that's okay. That's always been the thing, right? Next up, a card that I've seen before. Excuse me. A Hushwing Griff. 3 mana, 2/1 flash flying, and creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. Very good in modern against Melirapod, I can imagine, or any kind of Birthing Pod deck. And yeah, and a combat trick against things like Eternal Witness, Necrotal, and other creatures like that. Of course, Kitchen Finks and Murderous Redcap. And I'm still thinking of Melirapod here, but you get the idea. And also, it's a Hippogriff. Nice creature type. I've never seen before. I don't know if there's any other creature that has that creature type. But it's interesting. Kin's Bale, Skirmisher. 2 mana, 2/2. Kilkin Soldier. When Kin's Bale Skirmisher enters the battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Cool. Marked by Honor. 4 mana. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has Vigilance. So another okay-ish aura. And Mass Calcify, Mass Removal spell, destroy all non-white creatures. Very, very good in a White Weenie deck as a mana sink late game. You can often cast that and then Alpha Strike for lethal. At least in the White Weenie decks that I've played, which is mostly in Duels of the Planeswalkers, but you get the idea. Meditation Puzzle. 5 mana, instant Convoke. You gain 8 life. you know what I think of pure life gain cards. So I think this card is nigh unplayable. Midnight Guard, I've seen that card before. That used to be around. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, untap Midnight Guard, so good blocker, really. Oppressive Raise, enchanted creature can't attack or block unless its controller pays 3. Activated abilities of enchanted creature cost 3 more to activate. Yeah, so kind of suppression field, ghostly prison for one creature. I don't know if I really like that. It's kind of a weak removal spell, right? But yeah, it's kind of cheap and it might help you out. Oreskos Swiftclaw, 2 mana, Cat Warrior, 3/1. Again, one toughness creature, very aggressively costed though, with 2 mana. Paragon of the New Dawns, 4 mana. Other white creatures you control get +1/+1. And another for 1 mana and tap, another target white creature you control gains vigilance until end of turn. Yeah, I can see that being mediocrely powerful. But yeah, might work out, but I'm not too impressed by that. Pillar of Light, 3 mana, exile target creature with toughness 4 or greater. I like that. Good whitish removal spell, very white in flavor. And a Preeminent Captain, 3 mana 2/2. First strike, whenever Preeminent Captain attacks, you may put a soldier creature token from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Well, that's something. I can see that being like the linchpin of several brewing attempts in the coming block, or in the block where that will be, where this set will be legal. Yeah, so what soldier creatures are there? I can't really come up with one. Is Brimas a soldier? That would be great if you could like cheat them into play like that. Or I don't know if there are really very high costed soldiers, but casting 1 more soldier creature per turn that can't be countered and has haste more or less for free per turn seems great. So I can see a lot of decks coming up built around that card. Next up, Raise the Alarm, another reprint, like black-white token staple, 2 1-white soldier creature tokens. Yeah, that card is okay. Razorfoot Griffin, 4 mana, 2/2 flying and first strike. Okay, nothing too special about that. Resolute Archangel, a rare. 6 mana, 4/4 flying. When Resolute Archangel enters the battlefield, if your life total is less than your starting life total, it becomes equal to your starting life total. Oh shit. Okay. I can see that being very powerful in control against aggro. You get the idea, right? You're down to like 3 life, and then you slam that down, and your life total becomes 20. And you get a 4/4 flyer. I like that card, but I think I'll rage about that the first time it will be played against me. But oh well. Return to the ranks. 2 white plus X, convoke. Return X target creature cards with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. White Weenie Mass Reanimator, maybe? Could be. Sanctified Charge. 5 mana, creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. White creatures you control also gain first strike until end of turn. Very, very highly costed for a combat trick of that sort, right? So I think that card will be like borderline unplayable. Selfless Cathar, I know that guy. 1 mana, 1/1. Sacrifice, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn for 2 mana. Does its job. Yay, white weenie deck. And Seraph of the Masses, 7 mana, convoke. Flying, Seraph of the Masses power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. Solemn Offering, 3 mana, destroy target artifact or enchantment you gain for life. Always nice. especially now in Theros block, where many of the creatures are enchantments. And Soul of Theros, I've seen that one before. The souls of the planes seem to be a cycle in this core set. 6 mana, 6/6 vigilance, and for 6 mana, creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain first strike and lifelink until end of turn. And exile the Soul of Theros from your graveyard, and that has the same effect. I think all of the souls work that way. Then you have 2 abilities that do the same thing. One, you do that once when this creature is on the battlefield, and once you exile it from the graveyard. Soulmender was in the last core set, nothing to say about that really. Spectral Ward, 5 mana, aura, enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from all colors. This effect doesn't remove auras. Okay, so your creature basically becomes unblockable and untargetable by spells, unless you're playing like Wormcoil Engine or something like that. Then we have a Spirit Bonds, 2 mana enchantment, rare enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay a white. If you do, put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield. Sacrifice a spirit, target non-spirit creature gains indestructible until end of turn. That sounds very powerful. Again, white weenie theme here. Next up we have Sungrace Pegasus, or Pegasus, however you want to call it. 2 mana, 1/2 flying and lifelink, sure. And Tireless Missionaries, 5 mana, 2/3. When Tireless Missionaries enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. That sounds pretty crap for 5 mana. And Triplicates of Spirits, 6 mana, Convoke. Put 3 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. So that's like a Spectral Procession for double the mana, but with Convoke. Why not? And Wall of Essence, a wall. 2 mana, 0/4 defender. Whenever Wall of Essence is dealt combat damage, you gain that much life. You might want to think twice about attacking into that. And Warden of the Beyond, 3 mana, 2/2. Vigilance, Warden of the Beyond gets +2/+2 as long as an opponent owns a card in exile. Okay, that sounds good with cards like, what is it? Path to Exile, and Oblivion Ring, and Detention Sphere, of course, and stuff like that. So far for the white cards in the new set. As I said, life gain, auras, and white weenie seem to be the theme here. And cards don't look too bad. Yeah, so I'm excited how that will pan out. So, see you in a few seconds for the blue cards. And next up for blue, we have an Aeronaut Tinkerer, 3 mana, 2/3. Aeronaut Tinkerer has flying as long as you control an artifact. Okay, nothing too exciting as a common. So, what you gonna do? Yeah, it's okay. Let's put it that way. Aether Spouts. 5 mana. Instant. For each attacking creature, its owner puts it on the top or bottom of his or her library. Oh wow, that sounds interesting. So you can like skip a turn for each creature that you want to keep, or you can get rid of the creature. That seems like the best blue mass removal spell I've seen since Upheaval, really. Yeah, I like that. I can see that being very, very powerful, and 5 mana isn't too much. So yeah, I can see that being very powerful. Next up, Amphin Pathmage, 4 mana, 3/2, and for 3 mana, target creature can't be blocked this turn. So, like Crafty Pathmage, that you can use multiple times per turn, which also has a nice 3/2 body to it. And it can make itself unblockable as well. So that's nice. Chasm Skulker, a squid horror for 3 mana, 1/1. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Chasm Skulker. When Chasm Skulker dies, put X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk onto the battlefield, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Chasm Skulker. That sounds intriguing. Blue token creators. That's not very common, is it? There was Master of Waves and Theros and Meloku. Creatures that I can think of now off the top of my head who does do that. But I can see that card being powerful. Yeah, I really do. And I'm excited to see that in play. And Chief Engineer, another rare. A 2 mana 1/3. Artifacts you cast have Convoke. Okay. Affinity maybe? Yeah, Affinity comes to mind. And Chrono Stutter. 6 mana instant, put target creature into its owner's library, second from the top. So some Tide App kind of effect. 4 more mana. Excuse me. Yeah, those effects may be good and limited, but not much else. And a Coral Barrier, 3 mana defender. When Coral Barrier enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 blue squid creature token with Island Walk onto the battlefield. Are squids a theme here? Really? And Diffusion Sliver, another blue sliver for 2 mana 1/1. Whenever a sliver creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless its controller pays 2 colorless. So slivers that protect themselves. Seems nice. If you want to play blue for that, I doubt it. But hey, we'll see. And Dissipate. Counter target spell. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. Yeah, counter spell. A bit better than Cancel, which has the same mana cost. But worse than Dissolve, which is currently legal in Standard. But yeah, maybe in Limited. Divination. Draw 2 cards. Always good for 3 mana. And Crust, 3 mana, enchant artifact or creature, enchanted permanent doesn't untap to its controller's untap step and its activated abilities can't be activated. So if you attach that to an equipment, it can't be equipped. Is that true? Seems like it, because that's an activated ability, as far as I know. Yeah, that's like an Claustrophobia effect that also can target artifacts, which is nice. And Ensoul Artifact, 2 mana, enchantment aura, enchant an artifact. Enchanted artifact is a creature with base power and toughness 5/5 in addition to its other types. So a Tezzeret kind of effect. If you don't know, Tezzeret, the Planeswalker, does that. He like animates artifacts and makes them 5/5 creatures. And Frostlings. When Frostlings enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. 2/2. Okay. Fair enough. Fugitive Wizard. Blue 1/1. Why would you print a 1/1 vanilla creature for blue? Why would you do that? Are they trying to push blue aggro, really? With all the squid token generators and stuff? I don't know if I like that. Blue's very control-ish in nature in my eyes. Well, there's Merfolk, but that's not what blue's for. Glacial Crasher. 6 mana 5/5 trample. Glacial Crasher can't attack unless there is a mountain on the battlefield. Yeah, mediocre. And very aggro mid-rangey again. So I don't know if I like that. Hydro Surge. We had that in the last core set, I think. 1 mana, target creature gets -5/-0 until end of turn. So that's like an okay combat trick in Limited and the likes. Illusory Angel, sorry. 3 mana 4/4, flying, cast Illusory Angel only if you've cast another spell this turn. Haha, Talara's Battalion comes to mind, and we all know how crap that card is. But, yeah, maybe you can play like a Hydro Surge before that and cast it as a 4/4 flyer for 4. But there's nothing special about that. Into the Void. 4 mana, return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands. Double bounce effect like that. Invisibility. 2 blue, enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't be blocked except by walls. So more or less unblockable. And another Jace Planeswalker. Another Planeswalker which we haven't had enough of. But let's see. 4 mana, 5 starting loyalty +1. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your graveyard. Okay. Return another target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Jace the Mind Sculptor does that too. But that's not what you play. Why you play them? What you play them for? That's what I wanted to say. And ultimate -8. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library. You draw 7 cards. So you kind of remove the opponent's hand and draw 7 cards. Not overly powerful, but mind twist like effects are always nice, and you get a fresh hand of 7 cards. That's always nice for blue. Yeah, I can see him being played, but he's not as powerful as Jace Memory Adept, and especially not as powerful as Jace Mind Sculptor, of course, which is maybe the most powerful Planeswalker ever printed. But yeah, I can see him being played in Standard maybe. Jace's Ingenuity, 5 mana instant, draw 3 cards. Yeah, sure. We had that with Opportunity, I think, in the last core set. Or was there 4 cards? I think there was 4 cards. Never mind. Jalira, Master Polymorphist. I've seen her before. 4 mana 2/2 for 3 mana, sacrifice another creature, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary creature card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I was about to say you can combo that with like Emrakul, but Emrakul is legendary. Yeah, what can you combo that with? Not much. That makes sense. So another more aggro-ish blue card. That's very interesting. Next up, Jorubai Murklurker. 3 mana 1/3. Jorubai Murklurker gets +1/+1 as long as you control a swamp, and target creature gains lifelink until end of turn for 2 mana with a black. So another Curd Ape type creature that grows when you have another colored land on the battlefield. So yeah, that's done a 2/4 for 3 mana, plus the ability to give a creature lifelink. Yeah, okay. Not too good, but yeah, feasible. And Capsho Kite Fins. 6 mana 3/3. Flying. Whenever Capsho Kite Fins or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature an opponent controls. And Master of Predicaments, a rare Sphinx for 4/4 for 5. Flying. Whenever Master of Predicaments deals combat damage to a player, choose a card in your hand. That player guesses whether the card's converted mana cost is greater than 4. If the player guesses wrong, you may cast the card without paying its mana cost. Pretty bullshitty, I guess, but hey, you can use that to cheat in Emrakul to play, right? So yeah, next up, Mercurial Pretender. 5 mana, you may have Mercurial Pretender enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature you control, except it gains 4 mana, return this creature to its owner's hand. So a reusable clone, kind of. And Military Intelligence, 2 mana. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, draw a card. There seems to be an aggro thing here. I'm really surprised about that. And Mind Sculpt, target opponent puts the top 7 cards of his or her library into his graveyard. Yeah. Milling card, milling not that viable like ever. But hey. Negate makes a comeback. Or stays in the block, rather. Yeah, Negate, very staple card, very solid counterspell. Nimbus of the Isles, 5 mana flying, 3/3. Paragon of Gathering Mists. Other blue creatures you control get +1/+1, and another target blue creature you control gains flying until end of turn. Another aggro blue card. Peel from Reality. 2 mana instant, return target creature you control and target creature you don't control to their owner's hands. Okay. Good with creatures that have like triggered abilities that trigger when they enter the battlefield and you want to recast that. Yeah. Polymorphist's Jest, 3 mana instant. Until end of turn, each creature target player controls loses all abilities and becomes a blue frog with base power and toughness 1/1. Yeah, that's a combat trick for limited, right? I can see that being very, very powerful in like more control-ish type decks, and that can radically swing combats, I think. And Quickling, nice art like that. Fairy for once. 2 mana 2/2 flash flying. When Quickling enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you return another creature you control to its owner's hand. Okay, so another bounce type effect on a creature body. You could use that in fairy type decks to get your like Vendilion Click or Spell Stutter Sprite or something like that back. But I don't think that guy will be implemented in those decks. And Research Assistant, 2 mana 1/3, draw a card, then discard a card for 4 and a tap. Yeah, sure. And another Soul of Ravnica, 6 mana 6/6 flying, and the abilities do draw a card for each color among permanents you control. That makes sense. Ravnica is the multicolored plane of the multicolored guilds, if you remember. So that makes sense there. Statute of Denial. Counter target spell. If you control a blue creature, draw a card, then discard a card. Yeah. Sure, 4 mana counter spell with card draw or like hand sculpt type effect. And a Stormtide Leviathan. I like that guy quite a bit. I have a Reanimator deck that uses it, and so I like him making a return. Yeah, 8 mana 8/8 Island Walk. All lands are islands in addition to their other types. Creatures without flying or Island Walk can't attack. That can be a game-ending card, can't it? And turn to Frog. Until end of turn, target creature loses all abilities and becomes a blue frog with base power and toughness 1/1. Flavor text Ribbit. Void Snare. 1 mana sorcery. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So, kind of unsummoned type effect for non-land permanents. I like that quite a bit, but sorcery speed, don't forget that. Wall of Frost, we have that in the latest block. 3 mana, 7 defender. Whenever Wall of Frost blocks a creature, that creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. And Walking Turn, 2 mana, 2/1 flying. Walking Turn can block only creatures with flying. Yeah, as I said multiple times before, blue seems to be a lot more aggressive than in the last block. But that doesn't mean that it will swing standard massively, because standard always depends on the current, not only on the current core set, but of course on Theros block and the upcoming block that will be coming in September. So far for the blue cards. See you in a second for the black cards. And for the black cards, we have a Cursed Spirit, 4 mana 3/2 Intimidate. We had that in the last core set. That card has its uses, but it's not a powerhouse by any stretch of the imagination. Next up, Black Cat. I like that little kitty cat a lot. And for one thing, I think it has very nice artwork, and you can make your opponent discard a card at random, which is which can be very, very powerful. If you think of him to Turak, and how devastating that card can be, you know, you can kind of imagine what Black Cat can do. Then Blood Host, 3 mana, a vampire for not 3 mana, 5 mana, 3/3. Sacrifice another creature for 2 mana. Put a +1/+1 counter on Blood Host, and you gain 2 life. Okay. Nice in like Dredgevine decks with Grave Crawlers and Bloodghasts maybe. So you can sacrifice them and then get them back and grow Blood Host with that. Next up, Carrion Crow, 3 mana, 2/2 flyer. Carrion Crow enters the battlefield tapped. Nothing too exciting here. Caustic Tar, 6 mana, enchant land. Enchanted land has tap, target player loses 3 life. Very slow, very expensive, very crappy in my eyes. Child of Night, 2 mana, 2/1 lifelink, also in the last core set. Yeah, has its uses. If you put like equipment or horrors onto it, you can gain a bunch of life without deal damage, of course. So yeah. Covenant of Blood, 7 mana, Convoke. Covenant of Blood deals 4 damage to target creature or player and you gain 4 life. So black removal, sorcery speed removal with Convoke. 7 mana is a lot though. And sorcery speed means you have to cast that on your turn. That means you can't attack or block with those creatures that you use for the Convoke mechanic. But yeah, removal is always nice. And Crippling Blight, 1 mana, enchanted creature gets -1/-1 and can't block. Very okayish removal type of effect, or bypass a blocker kind of effect. So yeah, not too excited about that. Cruel Sadist, 1 mana, 1/1, 1 black mana, tap, pay 1 life, put a +1/+1 counter on Cruel Sadist, and 3 mana and tap, remove X +1/+1 counters from Cruel Sadist. Cruel Sadist deals X damage to target creature. Okay, so you pay life for several turns to kill creatures once. Yeah, if you get counters on that creature in any other way, then that might be feasible as a sort of removal engine, I might call it. But I'm not too impressed by that. Next up we have Endless Obedience with Liliana on the artwork. Another Convoke spell for 6 mana. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Reanimator spell for with Convoke. I like that quite a bit. And I can see that being sort of like a card to brew around. Maybe there will be a reanimated deck in Standard, which I always like. And Eternal Thirst, 2 mana, enchanted creature has lifelink, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Why not? Feast of the Fallen, 3 mana enchantment. At the beginning of each upkeep, if an opponent lost life last turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Maybe combos with Cruel Sadist, who knows? Sadist. Festergloom. 3 mana, sorcery, non-black creatures get -1/-1 until the end of turn. Token removal kind effect. Flesh to Dust, 5 mana, destroy target creature, it can't be regenerated. Very costly removal spell, but unconditional, so that's always nice. That might be the go-to removal spell in Core Set Limited. We'll see. Gravedigger. That guy's been around before. 4 mana 2/2. When Gravedigger enters the battlefield, you may return target creature card from a graveyard to your hand. In Garrick's Wake, rare for 9 mana. Destroy all creatures you don't control and all planeswalkers you don't control. Yeah, very expensive, but seems very powerful. Indulgent Tormentor. 5 mana, 5/3, flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card, unless target opponent sacrifices a creature or pays 3 life. Dark Confidant and Desecration Demon, kind of mixed kind of card. And 5/3, flying for 5 mana is something. And it draws you extra cards, or kills opponent's creatures, or drains them life. Yeah. Could that be the new Desecration Demon? Not really, but he looks powerful nonetheless. And Leeching Sliver, oh, nice artwork on that one. 2 mana, 1/1. Whenever a Sliver you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life. I like that quite a bit. Gives you a lot of reach in your Slivers. And very black effect, and I like black Slivers in general. Then Liliana Vess makes a comeback. Yes, I like that. Not as powerful as Liliana of the Veil, of course, but can be very powerful, and I can see her making an impact on a Standard format. So 5 mana, +1 target player discards a card. -2, search your library for a card, then shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. Sort of like a vampiric tutor effect. And her ultimate reanimates all creatures in all graveyards. Under your control, I might add. Mind Rot, 3 mana, target player discards 2 cards. Was in the last core set, was not played whatsoever, so I don't think that will change. Maybe if Reanimator is more of a theme here, then it might. But yeah, so far I can't see that card making an impact. And Necrobite, a 3 mana instant, target creature gains death touch until end of turn, and you regenerate it. Nice combat trick. Necrogen Scudder, 3 mana 3/3 flying. When Necrogen Scudder enters the battlefield, you lose 3 life. Tempo-y kind of card. Necromancer's Assistant, 3 mana 3/1. When Necromancer's Assistant enters the battlefield, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. So there's the Reanimator kind of self-mill effect that you want with that. And Necromancer's Stockpile, 2 mana enchantment. Discard a creature card, draw a card. If the discarded card was a zombie card, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield tapped. Combos with Gravecrawler and stuff like that. And Nightfire Giant, 5 mana giant for 3. Nightfire Giant gets +1/+1 as long as you control a mountain, so that seems to be a cycle here. And Nightfire Giant deals 2 damage to target creature or player, so a Rakdos mid-rangey kind of card. Seems good. Obnixilis Unshackled, 6 mana 4/4, flying trample. Whenever an opponent searches his or her library, their player sacrifices a creature and loses 10 life. Holy shit. Yeah. That could be the death of Melirapod. If you, well, 6 mana is a bit much for modern format, but yeah, any kind of tutor effect is shut down by that creature tremendously, because 10 life is like your starting, half your starting life total. So yeah. He counters that, of course, and whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Obnixilis Unshackle, so he grows as the game progresses. Yeah, that guy will be a bomb. I can see that coming. And Paragon of Open Graves, 4 mana, 2/2. Other black creatures you control get +1/+1, and another black target black creature you control gains death touch until end of turn. Also, that seems to be a cycle. Like lords that can buff creatures of their color, and another creature of that color gains blah until end of turn. And Rot Feaster Maggot, 5 mana, 3/5 insect. When Rot Feaster Maggot enters the battlefield, exile target creature card from a graveyard to gain life equal to that card's toughness. So a scavenging ooze kind of effect. And Shadowcloak Vampire, 5 mana for 3, excuse me, and pay 2 life. Shadowcloak Vampire gains flying until end of turn. Another more tempo-y kind of card. And Sign in Blood makes a return. I'm really happy about that. I like the card quite a bit. 2 mana, 2 black. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Very versatile, very deep, very flexible, very interesting card. To quote another Magic the Gathering streamer, 2 mana, 2 cards, 2 life, 2 good. And the Black Soul, Soul of Innistrad, 6 mana, 6/6 death touch, and return up to 3 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand is the ability. Then Stab Wound is back, another reprint from Return to Ravnica block. And if you follow my standard constructed videos, then you know that I like this card way too much. I use it way too much in my decks. And Stain the Mind, also Stab Wound, very good and limited. Stain the Mind, 5 mana, Convoke, a sorcery, name a non-land card, search target player's graveyard, hand and library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. Then that player shuffles his or her library. So Surgical Extraction, that sort of effect, or yeah, but you don't have to see the card in a graveyard, or yeah, don't have to target the card in a graveyard. You just have to name it, so good sideboard card, I guess. Typhoid, I don't know how to pronounce that. Typhoid. Yeah, 1/1 Death Touch, very nice. Ulcerate, 1 mana, instant. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. You lose 3 life. So cheap and cheap kind of lightning bolt type effect that gets around indestructible, but you lose life in the process. But sounds good so far. Unmake the Graves, 4 mana, no, 5 mana, instant. Convoke, return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Wall of Limbs. 3 mana, Defender, 0/3. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Wall of Limbs. So that comes with the life gain creatures that white has. And for 7 mana, sacrifice Wall of Limbs. Target player loses X life, where X is Wall of Limbs' power. So that gives you reach through its Defender ability. Yeah. Waste Not, designed by the Magic community. 2 mana enchantment, rare. Whenever an opponent discards a creature card, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, add 2 to your mana pool. Whenever an opponent discards a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. Maybe you can brew around this and do sort of like a discard themed deck with Black Cat and what was the name? Mind Rot, which I said will not have an impact. Maybe I was wrong with this card. Very, very interesting. Nevertheless, yeah, we'll see. Witch's Familiar, 3 mana, 2/3, a frog. Vanilla creature. Gotta have those. Zethrid Slyblade. Who comes up with those names? 3 mana, 2/1, hexproof. Hexproof is always nice in a creature. And 4 mana until end of turn. Zethrid Skyblade loses hexproof and gains first strike and death touch. Ooh, nice. Yeah, that's a very flexible creature, you know. So you can use it in combat to kill any creature your opponent has that does not have first strike or double strike. But he may then play in your removal spell. That's nice, I like that. That sounds interesting. I will get me some of them. And Zoffshade, 4 mana, 2/2, 3 mana Zoffshade gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So you can pump him and multiple times at that, if you have the mana. Sounds interesting. So far for black cards. What strikes my mind? No Doomblade in there, which is kind of sad for me. Doomblade is one of my favorite cards of all time, but that will not be a problem for standard whatsoever, because the prime removal spells in standard at the moment are Ultimate Price, Barblight, and Hero's Downfall, nevertheless, and those cards will be around for a while. So, those were the black cards. Next up we have red cards. See you soon. And for red cards we have Act on Impulse, 3 mana with Chandra's Goggles on it, sorcery. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until end of turn you may play cards exiled this way. Very red type effect. Don't like it that much because you have 1 turn to do it. And you pay 3 mana in advance, so you have to have a bit of mana at your disposal to then be able to cast those spells. But gives you some kind of card advantage, right? Nice flavor text there. You don't want to know what happens after I put on the goggles. Yeah, nice. And Aggressive Mining. 4 mana, designed by Marcus Persson, aka Notch, the guy behind Minecraft. You can't play lands, okay. And sacrifice a land, draw 2 cards. Activate this ability only once each turn. Very suicidal. But may be very, very powerful effect. Drawing 2 cards is very good. Not being able to play lands is, of course, a very, very big drawback. But you might use that with a bounce type of effect to just draw a shitload of cards and sacrifice lands you don't need anyway, and then you bounce that the enchantment and you can play lands again, maybe. And All-Attack Bloodseeker, 2 mana 2/1. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, All-Attack Bloodseeker gets +2/+0 against first strike and haste until end of turn. Okay. I don't know, I don't see the use in that right now. So you have to play him and then play a removal spell so that a creature your opponent controls dies, then it gains haste and first strike and +2/+0 and you can attack with it? Okay. And Belligerent Sliver. Another Sliver. 3 mana 2/2. Sliver creatures you control have this creature can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Nice. Blast Firebolt. 6 mana. Blast Firebolt deals 5 damage to target creature. Destroy all equipment attached to that creature. Well, that's very good. I don't know if equipment is a theme in this set, but can be very powerful in other formats where equipment is a thing. Borderland Marauder, 2 mana 1/2. Whenever Borderland Marauder attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So that's a 3/2 on the attack for 2 mana. That sounds pretty decent. Brood Keeper, 4 mana 2/3. Whenever an aura becomes attached to Brood Keeper, put a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. It has pay red. This creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Very good. And Burning Anger, an aura, 5 mana. Enchanted creature has tap. This creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. And Chandra Pyromaster was in the last core set. Glad to see her being continued in this set. Chandra Pyromaster deals 1 damage to target player and 1 damage to up to 1 target creature that player controls. That creature can't block this turn. Exile the top card of your library, you may play it this turn. And exile the top 10 cards of your library, choose an instant or sorcery card, exile this way and copy it 3 times. You may cast the copies without paying the mana costs. Very red, very like ambitious type of effects. And very aggressive, like that. And Circle of Flame. 2 mana enchantment. Whenever a creature without flying attacks you or a planeswalker you control, Circle of Flame deals 1 damage to that creature. So 1 toughness creatures without flying can't attack you, it says. Clear a Path. 1 mana sorcery, destroy target creature with defender. Okay, who cares? 5 mana, Cone of Flame. Cone of Flame deals 1 damage to target creature player, 2 damage to another target creature or player, and 3 damage to a third target creature or player. Very good removal spell, bit too costly for red, but yeah, if you have the mana for it, it can be very powerful. Crowd's Favor. 1 mana, Convoke. So you can tap a red creature to cast that. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. Yeah, okay. Combat trick, but not that powerful. Crucible of Fire. 4 mana, I think that's a reprint, right? 4 mana dragon creatures you control get +3/+3. Synergize as well with Brood Keeper then. And Forge Devil. 1 mana, 1/1. When Forge Devil enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target creature and 1 damage to you. That's fair. Foundry Street Denizen, a reprint from Gatecrash, I think. Yeah. And 1 mana, 1/1. Whenever another red creature enters the battlefield under your control, Foundry Street Denizen gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Excuse me. And Frenzied Goblin, 1 mana, 1/1. Whenever Frenzied Goblin attacks, you may pay a red. If you do, target creature can't block this turn. Generator Servant, 2 mana, 2/1. Tap to sacrifice Generator Servant, add 2 to your mana pool. If that mana is spent on a creature spell, it gains haste until end of turn. That's interesting. So a red rampish kind of effect. Yeah, you can. Well, if you cover out perfectly, you can drop this guy on turn 2, and turn 3 play a 5-drop. That's big, and it gains haste. I can see that thing being powerful. Next up, Goblin Kaboomist. A lot of goblins in here. 2 mana, 1/2 at the beginning of your upkeep. If you put a colorless artifact token named Landmine onto the battlefield with a red, sacrifice this artifact. This artifact deals 2 damage to target attacking creature without flying. Then flip a coin. If you lose the flip, Goblin Kaboomist deals 2 damage to itself. Ah, that's a very nice flavor card, right? Great, I like that. So you get a bunch of removal stuff, but if you trigger it, he might blow himself up. That's just terrific. Does it track the Kaboomist that put it onto the battlefield if you have multiple out? It has to, right? Or does it blow up all the Goblin Kaboomists you have? I don't know, really. Have to look that up. And Goblin Rebel Master, another Goblin. Goblin seems to be a theme here. I love Goblins though. I like that quite a bit. And I like that they're putting them into the core set. Goblin Rebel Master, 3 mana, 2/2. Other Goblin creatures you control attack each turn if able. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a 1/1 red Goblin creature token with haste onto the battlefield. And whenever Goblin Rebel Master attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking Goblin. So that's like the engine that will drive the Goblin deck in that format. Too bad that both of these are rare. But if you get one of these creatures in limited, you might want to consider drafting Goblins, I think. But we'll see how that turns out. Then we have Goblin Rough Rider, 3 mana, 3/2. That card's been around for a while. And Hammerhand, 1 mana Aura, enchant creature. When Hammerhand enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn. And enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. Sure. Heat Ray, 1 mana plus X. Heat Ray deals X damage to target creature. Reddish type removal spell. Hoarding Dragon, a dragon. So dragons and goblins, huh? For red. 5 mana, 4/4 flying. When Hoarding Dragon enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card, exile it, then shuffle your library. When Hoarding Dragon dies, you may put the exiled card into its owner's hand. Okay, very flavorful. I don't know if that has any use, but we will see about that. Inferno Fist. Nice art on that one. 2 mana Aura, enchant creature you control. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0. Sacrifice Inferno Fist. Inferno Fist deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Curd Chieftain. So that's the red Curd Ape type card. +1/+1 as long as you control a forest. And for 5 mana with a green, target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. And Krenko's Enforcer, 3 mana, 2/2, intimidate, another goblin. Kurkesh Onake Ancient, 4 mana, 4/3. Whenever you activate an ability of an artifact, if it isn't a mana ability, you may pay a red. If you do copy that ability, you may choose new targets for the copy. Double Birthing Pod activation, maybe? Or what could you do? What else is there? Can't come up with anything right now. Well, let me see. Lava Axe, yeah, sure. 5 damage for 5 mana, only to a player. Pretty crappy card. But in a burn deck, you might want to consider 1 or 2. Lightning Strike, Searing Spear, more or less the same card. 2 mana, 3 damage to target creature or player. Sure. Red needs a card like that. Might Makes Right. 6 mana enchantment at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you control each creature on the battlefield with the greatest power, gain control of target creature an opponent controls until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. Minus Bane. 6 mana, 6/3. An elemental. 3 mana, minus Bane gets +1/+0 against trample until end of turn. The trample is nice. Paragon of Fierce Defiance. Other red creatures you control get +1/+1, so that's the Lord type of effect there. And another red creature you control gains haste until end of turn. Giving other creatures haste is always nice. Rummaging Goblin. That card's been in Magic for a while. 3 mana 1/1, discard a card, draw a card. Scrapyard Mongrel. 4 mana 3/3, as long as you control an artifact, Scrapyard Mongrel gets +2/+0 and has trample. Shrapnel Blast, 2 mana instant, as an additional cost to cast a Shrapnel Blast, sacrifice an artifact. Shrapnel Blast deals 5 damage to target creature or player. Siege Dragon, 7 mana 5/5 flying. When Siege Dragon enters the battlefield, destroy all walls your opponent controls. Whenever Siege Dragon attacks, if defending player controls no walls, it deals 2 damage to each creature without flying that player controls. That looks powerful. And there's the Soul of Chandela. 6 mana 6/6 first strike, and for 5 mana Soul of Chandela deals 3 damage to target player and 3 damage to up to 1 target creature that player controls. Very nice. Reusable kind of lightning bolt type effect for 5 mana, of course. Stoke the Flames. 4 mana instant with Convoke. Stoke the Flames deals 4 damage to target creature or player. Nice removal type effect. Instant speed this time. Thundering Giant, 5 mana 4/3 haste. Torch Fiend, value bro that destroys an artifact. And Wall of Fire, 3 mana 0/5 defender. Wall of Fire gains +1/+0 until end of turn. So far, those have been the red cards. I really like the Goblins in there. The Dragons not so much. But I would very much like to see Goblins being a thing. So much for that, and see you in a second for the green cards. And for green we have the Ancient Silverback, 6 mana 6/5 with Regenerate. Yeah, sure, cool. Too weak for Constructed, I think, but maybe Unlimited could be good. Back to Nature, 2 mana destroy all enchantments, very powerful as long as Theros sticks around, because a lot of creatures are enchantments there. Carnivorous Moss Beast, a 6 mana 4/5 plant elemental beast. Those are some creature types. And 7 mana, put a +1/+1 counter on Carnivorous Moss Beast. Charging Rhino, 5 mana, Charging Rhino can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. 4/4. Yes! Chord of Calling. I've heard rumors about that, but I didn't believe it. There it is. Chord of Calling makes a return. Reprint of Chord of Calling. Very nice. If you don't know what it is, 3 mana +X Convoke. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less and put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Why am I rejoicing so much? I am currently trying to build a Millionaire Pot deck because I want to get into Modern, and that card is a 3-of in that deck in most lists, and at the moment it's pretty expensive. It's about $10 a piece, so I like that getting a reprint. Next up, Elvish Mystic, Llanowar elf type of effect. I do have a Golgari ramp mid-range deck, so I like that this creature is being continued. And Feral Incarnation for 9 mana, Convoke, put 3 green beast creature tokens onto the battlefield. That sounds good. I can see that being powerful and limited. And Gather Courage, 1 mana Convoke, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Genesis Hydra, 2 green and X. A plant Hydra. When you cast Genesis Hydra, reveal the top X cards of your library. You may put a non-land permanent card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield, then shuffle the rest into your library. So that's why it's called Genesis Hydra, because it has sort of like a Genesis Wave type of effect. And Genesis Hydra enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. That's a common Hydra theme. And Hornet Nest, 3 mana, insect 0/2 defender. Whenever Hornet Nest is dealt damage, put that many 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and death touch into the battlefield. Nice top-down design. You just poke the Hornet Nest and things fly out. Yeah, I like that. With flying and death touch, that's something. And Hornet Queen, 7 mana, flying Death Touch. When Hornet Queen enters the battlefield, put 4 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and Death Touch into the battlefield. Nice. Hunt the Weak was been around before. It's like a +1/+1 counter plus Prey Upon. And yeah, that's the green removal of choice, I guess. And Hunter's Ambush. 3 mana instant, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by non-green creatures this turn. Very nice. Invasive Species. When invasive species enters the battlefield, return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. You could get your Hornet Queen back with that. And 3 mana, 3/3. Colonian Twingrove, a Tree Folk Warrior for 6 mana. Colonian Twingrove's power and toughness are each equal to the number of forests you control. Very nice. And when Colonian Twingrove enters the battlefield, put a green Tree Folk Warrior creature token onto the battlefield with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of forests you control. That's why it's called Twingrove, because it enters the battlefield twice, kind of. Life's Legacy. Hasn't that been around before? 2 mana sorcery as an additional cost to cast Life's Legacy, sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power. I think I have cast that card before. Yeah. Could be good if you want to sort of recycle your creatures. And Living Totem. 4 mana, 2/3 Convoke. When Living Totem enters the battlefield, you may put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature. Yeah, cool. Why not? Naturalize, destroys target artifact or enchantment. Yeah, you know that card. Netcaster Spider. 3 mana, 2/3 Reach. Whenever Netcaster Spider blocks a creature with flying, Netcaster Spider gets +2/+0 until end of turn, so it's 4/3 against flyers. I like that. Nissa, World Waker, a green Planeswalker. 5 mana, 3 starting loyalty. Target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental creature with trample. It's still a land. Okay, permanently. That's nice. Untap up to 4 target forests. Wow, that's like Garruk Wildspeaker on crack. And search your library for any number of basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. Those lands become 4/4 elemental creatures with trample. They're still lands. I was about to say that's the absolute ramp overkill, but if they're creatures, that means they can't be tapped that turn, right? Yeah, but it ramps you quite a bit, right? Nonetheless, because you can cast next turn off of that. Next up, we have Nissa's Expedition. 5 mana, sorcery with Convoke. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto your battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. Rampish kind of effect. I can see me using that in my Golgari deck, maybe. Maybe, I don't know how much I want to ramp in that deck. Then Overwhelm, 7 mana, Convoke, sorcery creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn, so like an overrun type of effect without trample. Paragon of Eternal Wilds. 4 mana, other green creatures you control get +1/+1, another target green creature you control gains trample until end of turn. And Phyto Titan. 6 mana, 7/2. 7/2. 2 toughness. When Phyto Titan dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control at the beginning of his or her next upkeep. Aha, so a very resilient creature nonetheless. Okay. Destroy target creature with flying is a plummet. We have that. We've had that before. Ranger's Guile was there before. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 and hexproof until end of turn. Reclamation Sage. 3 mana, 2/1. When When Reclamation Sage enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. So the whole set seems to have sort of like an enchantment and artifact theme. And Restock. 5 mana, return 2 target cards from your graveyard to your hand, exile Restock. Roaring Primadox, I like that card quite a bit. At the beginning of your turn, you bounce a creature you control. 4 mana, 4/4. That can be an engine behind decks that have creatures in them that have triggered abilities when they enter the battlefield. Next up, Runeclaw Bear. Yeah, 2/2 for 2, normal grizzly bear type creature. Setter Wayfinder, 2 mana 1/1. When Setter Wayfinder enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them into your hand, put the rest into your library. Into your graveyard, sorry. Shaman of Spring, 4 mana 2/2. When Shaman of Spring enters the battlefield, draw a card. Sure, why not? Siege Worm, 7 mana 5/5 with Convoke and Trample. Convoke is really, really nice. I like that. I put that in. And here's the Green Soul, Soul of Zendikar. 6 mana 6/6 with Reach, and you can put a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield. Sunblade Elf, 1 mana 1/1. That's the green Curd Ape type card. As long as you control the planes, and creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn for a white. Titanic Growth, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn for 2 mana, so a sort of worse giant growth kind of effect. Those are always feasible and limited. And Undergrowth Scavenger, 4 mana. Undergrowth Scavenger enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the number of creature cards in all graveyards. So they pick up the Golgari Scavenge theme from Return to Ravnica block. And Venom Sliver, and the green sliver in that set. Sliver creatures you control have Death Touch. That can be very powerful, I guess. And Verdant Haven, we have that before. You can sort of ramp with it and fix your mana, but it's kind of slow and was not really played when it was in that block. Vine Weft? Vine Weft. 1 mana, aura, enchanted creature gets +1/+1, and return Vine Weft from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. Wall of Mulch. And Wall of Mulch, 2 mana, 0/4 defender, and green, sacrifice a wall, draw a card. Yisan, the Wanderer Band, legendary creature, 3 mana, 2/3. And 3 mana, tap, put a verse counter on Yisan, the Wanderer Bard, sorry. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to the number of verse counters on Yisan, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. That sounds very interesting. I could see me brewing around that. Not really powerful because he grows rather slowly and he can't attack really. I mean, he doesn't grow, but the number of counters grow very slowly. And then we have 2 multicolour cards, so we're going to do them now as well. Garruk, Apex Predator, new Planeswalker with 4 abilities. 5 starting loyalty, +1 is destroy another target Planeswalker. Nice. +1, put a 3/3 black beast creature token with Death Touch onto the battlefield. That's a nice +1. -3, destroy target creature, you gain life equal to its toughness. And target opponent gets an emblem with whenever a creature attacks you, it gets +5/+5 and gains trample until end of turn. Yeah, nice. I want that guy in my Golgari deck. Yeah, he'll cost a shitload of money, I assume, but if I can get my hands on him, I will. And a Sliver Hive Lord, 1 of each color. Sliver creatures you control have indestructible. I like that they took up the Sliver theme again. So, next up we will do colorless and artifacts and lands. So see you around for that. So, there we are with artifacts, colorless and lands. And let's start with Avarice Amulet for 4 mana, equipment. 2 to equip. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has vigilance, and at the beginning of your upkeep draw a card. When equipped creature dies, target opponent gains control of Avarice Amulet. Okay, very risky card, but maybe the card advantage is worth it, but it looks very, very costly for what it does. Then Brawler's Plate, 3 mana, equipped creature has +2/+2 and has trample. 4 to equip. Okay. Bronze Sable was there before, 2 mana, 2/1. Gargoyle Sentinel 3 mana 3/3 Defender. Until end of turn, Gargoyle Sentinel loses Defender and gains flying. So you can like turn him off and attack. Turn him on and attack, I mean. Then Grind Clock, milling card, who gives a shit. And Haunted Plate Mail. Equipped creature gets +4/+4. 0 until end of turn. Haunted Plate Mail becomes a 4/4 spirit artifact creature that's no longer in equipments. Activate this ability only if you control no creatures. And 4 to equip. So yeah, that's kind of like Living Weapon, right? Only without the germ creature token. But yeah. And Hot Soup. 1 mana artifact, equipment, equipped creature can't be blocked. Whenever equipped creature is dealt damage, destroyed. Very nice flavor on that. Then we have Juggernaut, an artifact creature, 4 mana 5/3. Juggernaut attacks each turn if able. Juggernaut can't be blocked by walls. Okay, fair enough. Meteorite. 5 mana. When Meteorite enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Like this, I assume. And tap add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. I was chucking because of the flavor text. And if I'm lying, here we go. Yeah. Obelisk of Erd. 6 mana Convoke. As Obelisk of Erd enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +2/+2. Could be very powerful in Slivers, Goblins, stuff like that. Any sort of tribal deck. We'll see if that makes is a thing in that block. Because you're if you have a lot of those creatures out, they can help cast this thing, and they profit from it. That's nice. Ornithopter, Affinity, Staple, nice reprint. Perilous Vault, 4 mana, and for 5 and tap, exile Perilous Vault, exile all non-land permanents. Very, very powerful. Mythic Rare. Okay, for a reason, I guess. Almost like an Oblivion Stone, just you exile the permanents and you can't save your own with these fate counters. But yeah, I can see that being played. Another reprint, Phyrexian Revoker, card I like very much. 2 mana, 2/1. As Phyrexian Revoker enters the battlefield, name a non-land card. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated. So, 2 mana Hate Bear, so to speak. Profane Memento, 1 mana artifact. Whenever a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you gain 1 life. Rogue's Gloves, 2 mana artifact equipment. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. 2 to equip. Sure. Sacred Armory, 2 mana artifact. 2 mana target creature gets +1/+1, +1/+0 until end of turn. Yeah, sure. Scuttling Doom Engine, that thing looks scary. 6 mana, 6/6. Scuttling Doom Engine can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. When Scuttling Doom Engine dies, it deals 6 damage to target opponent. Can you go infinite with that in some way? Can you like play it, put it into your graveyard, get it back somehow? Maybe. I can't think of any way to do that, but there might be. Shield of the Avatar. 1 mana. If a source would deal damage to a equipped creature, prevent X of that damage where X is the number of creatures you control. And the Colorless Soul of New Phyrexia, 6 mana artifact creature avatar, 6/6 trample, and for 5 mana permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Then the staffs are continued to be a thing. Who gives a crap? They are shit. Next card, the Chain Veil. I've heard good things about that card. 4 mana legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't activate a loyalty ability of a Planeswalker this turn, you lose 2 life. And for 4 mana and tap, for each Planeswalker you control, you may activate one of its loyalty abilities once this turn, as though none of its loyalty abilities have been activated this turn. Oh shit. That's great. Seems to have a Planeswalker type, Planeswalker theme, this new core set, and doing that seems very, very powerful right now. What's the weirdest thing that I can think of? Can't you, if you play Liliana of the Veil in, let's say, Modern, and you have the Chain Veil out, what starting loyalty does Liliana have? I think she has 4. And that means you can get her to ultimate range in 1 turn. That is sick. That is really sick. Then we have Tormod Script, Graveyard Hate, reprint. Sure. Played in Legacy, played in Vintage as far as I know. So nice to see that card around. Tyrant's Machine, 2 mana, artifact, 4 mana, tap target creature, yeah sure, why not. And Will Forged Golem, 6 mana, 4/4 Convoke. Yeah, nothing too exciting about that. Then we have Painlands. I love Painlands, love me some dual lands. If you don't know what that is, they generate 2 colors of mana, but every time they do, they deal 1 damage to you. There we have Battlefield Forge, Caves of Coilus, and some other which we'll be seeing shortly, I guess. Darksteel Citadel is played in Affinity, because it's an artifact land and it's indestructible. So yeah, like that being reprinted. Evolving Wilds, not too good of a card, but everyone who plays Jewels of the Planeswalkers should be familiar with this. Not too powerful because it gets you a basic land only and not those dual lands and those fancy things. So then we have the forests, all of which I have seen design-wise, I think. This one might be new. That looks actually pretty cool. And Islands, best card in Magic by far. Llanowar Wastes, there is the Golgari Painland. Mountains, all of the designs have been there before, not too exciting. This one looks rather cool. And Radiant Fountain, what's that? When Radiant Fountain enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life and it only generates colorless mana, so crap tier in my eyes. Plains don't look too fancy. Shivan Reef is the Izzet Painland. Sliver Hive adds 1 mana colorless to your mana pool, or 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a Sliver spell. And for 5 mana, put a 1/1 colorless Sliver creature token onto the battlefield. Activate this ability only if you control a Sliver. This one looks badass. Looks really cool. The other designs have been there, and Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth makes a reprint, gets a reprint. I like that. Very good if you play a deck, a multicolored deck that plays black, because all of your lands can generate black mana then. And Yavimaya Coast, the Simic Painland. So that's the new core set for you. My opinion on it, I think there are a lot of interesting themes there. I like the Goblin theme, I like the Planeswalker theme, I like the Artifact theme in it. I don't know if I like blue being pushed in a more aggressive way. We will see how that turns out. And I am not a big fan of White Weenie, but many people are. So those people might have some fun with that in this core set. I probably will be doing my limited debut with this core set. I will play my first ever booster draft on Magic Online, but I will do a announcement video on that shortly, maybe tomorrow even. So yeah, very excited for the new core set. A lot of great reprints. Phyrexian Revoker I like Sign and Blood, I like Urborg. I like Liliana Vess in there. The new Garrett Planeswalker looks badass. So yeah, I'm excited. Hope you're excited as well. Hope you liked the video. If you did, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it, tweet, whatever. And yeah, good luck at your pre-release if you're attending this weekend. I will probably do one on Magic Online. We'll see about that. And yeah, have fun at your pre-release and see you next time. Goodbye. Bye-bye.